I think I kind of want to just start where you want to start. Like, what if I ask you, what do you think is the most important thing that people need to know about life? Where would you go with that?
Well, I would start with the most important thing that people should know about life is that life can be beautiful if you want it to be. It comes with its own set of challenges, you know.
Mm,
Um, there's some things that pop up that you may not expect, but it's all part of the journey. Life is a process. It's a journey. And I honestly believe that throughout that process, um, you can choose. You have the strength to choose how it turns out. You may not be able to control everything that happens in it, but you can choose how it turns out, by the choices that you make. Say for instance, like the thing that I'm into the thing that I'm passionate about, grief, life and death, right? You can't control who dies, um, but you can control how you deal with it. It's all a choice, and I've made several bad choices, and several good choices. And I choose to look at things now as a blessing. Throughout all the losses I've ever endured, I can honestly say that had those things had not happened, had those people had not been a part of my life, I wouldn't be who I am sitting here today. I could have easily chose to take a back road and say, you know what, screw this life. I'm done with it. Um, and became angry, bitter, and chose to be lonely. Or I can do what I'm doing now and choose to be a servant. I choose to serve other people because it makes me feel good. I choose to walk with other people while they're going through their hardest moments in life because I know what it's like to be alone. And I know that you cannot do this life alone. So you can choose. You do have the strength and the power to choose how you perceive it.
how? That's
Well,
probably a really big question, but how? I know for me, especially after my mum passed away,
mhm,
I went into I mean, when my dad passed away, I went into a bit of a dark place. But when my mum passed away, my entire life just crumbled.
right.
And it doesn't feel like I could have taken it any other way. And even now, I still have this element of fear, of
Mhm.
of fear of being alive, like feeling scared of being alive, feeling scared of being in this human body, scared of other humans because of the pain that you endure from those other people.
Mhm.
And it is hard not to be in a space of resentment, especially if you've gone through trauma
Right.
in your life, either physical, mental, whatever trauma. So, how do you choose when it feels like it's not a choice?
Well, how I do it, I look at the things my mother and my father taught me, right? Um, and I could choose to be upset. I really could, and at one point in time I did, I didn't like the way it felt.
Mm,
I didn't like the way it felt because just like yourself, I mean, I was never afraid of people because I had seen the darkness that people could inflict on other people
how could you not be afraid of them if you've seen that?
because I became something different.
Okay.
I became something different. When you have trauma inflicted on you at an early age, it changes your perception of life,
Does, yep.
and well, I knew what people were capable of doing in this worst form. And I said, you know what? Instead of being afraid of it, I'm gonna be worse than them. Because if I'm worse than them, then it takes away that fear.
Yeah.
Because I am no longer afraid of what they could do to me. They should be afraid of what I can do to them. It levels the playing field.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, it levels the playing field, right? So I was never afraid. I stopped being afraid at the age of 6 when I was molested. And what made me overcome that fear, knowing that this individual was capable of doing this to such a young person, I said, well, if he's capable of doing this to me without any remorse or any sort of consequences, then I have to switch this around and make him afraid of me. So at the age of 6, when that happened, the situation arose, and I put a knife in his stomach, and I told him, "If you ever touch me again, what I do to you, they're going to write about it in the newspapers, and I promise you, they won't do anything to me when they find out what you did to me."
Mm.
And so that led me along a path of I chose a path of angry, you
Yeah.
know. And I was a quiet kid, but I was smart and I kept straight A's in school. I got along with people, but on the other side, it was like, I told myself, I'm going to level the playing field. And I grew up in that environment. I've been shot, I've been stabbed, I'm still here. But the people that did that to me, they found out that I'm capable of being that person as well. I'm not going to be your victim. You're not going to prey on me. As a matter of fact, we're going to figure out who's the predator. And the only thing that makes a predator afraid is a predator that's more dangerous than them.
Yeah.
So I had no fear. You cannot threaten me with death. I'm not afraid of dying. You can't threaten me with taking away my freedom because I've already had that taken away. You can't threaten me with taking anything away from me because I've already had it stripped away from me. So I leveled the playing field. I eliminated all things that could possibly inflict fear on me.
Mm.
You can't hurt someone who's not afraid of being hurt. You can't take away something from someone when you've already had it taken away. And I lived a life of I was alone my whole entire life. So you can't really. I can choose to be afraid of this life, or I can choose to not be afraid of it. And I chose not to be afraid of it and walk through it with my head held high, and to endure the challenges that was set upon me. And it was the best decision I ever made. And I remember the last time that I was truly afraid of something, I was afraid of losing my child. And guess what happened? He passed away. So I have no fear of this life whatsoever. So I go through life now, and I choose to be better. But I choose to do it fearlessly. I have no fear of failing. I just simply have no fear of this world anymore. I know that one day I'm going to die. It doesn't bother me. I've already lost everyone. So this life has no control over me. I can control my outcome. I can choose to go through this life and do something good, or I can choose to go through this life and do bad things. I just choose to do good things in this world. So when it comes down to people, I can accept people for who they are, as long as that's who they say that they are. So that's what I mean by that. I can choose. It's my choice. It is my choice. And I found out just for me that if I go through this life and I'm afraid of everything, I miss out on great opportunities. Say, for instance, choosing to be a podcaster, being an introvert, right? I never thought in a million years that I would be talking to people from across the world about the things that goes on with me because I'm afraid of their judgment over me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I choose to step into this role, I have to accept that I may be judged. Guess what? I've been judged my whole entire life, and there's people that have been judged worse off than me. There's no difference. I'm okay with that. I am okay with that because reality is reality. People have their own perception of it, and I'm okay with that. I can't control the next person. I can only control me. And I choose to tell my story fearlessly because I know that there's other people out there that will listen to my story and be inspired by it. So I'd rather inspire people than to walk away from it because I know what that feels like. I understand exactly what that feels like to be alone in a world where it feels as if it's unfair. That everything that you do, somebody has an opinion on it. Guess what? They're always going to have an opinion on it. Let them. That's what makes us better. Their opinions of me don't change me. Their judgment of me don't change me. The only thing that really matters is how I treat myself. So if I'm not afraid of the way that I feel about myself, then why should I be afraid of what other people feel about me?
What if someone is afraid of how they feel about themselves? Because I've been listening to what you're saying, and I wish I had an inch of the belief that you have. But being in a victim mindset, it does create that fear. Like we were talking just beforehand, where I said, no one knows. I don't want anyone that knows me to know what I'm doing because of the judgment, because of the criticism, because of their opinion. It changes how I feel. I can have someone that I know say something bad to me about what I'm doing, and that will make me stop it. I know because I've done it in the past. That has been, I used to have an online TV show before it was even a thing. This is like over 10 years ago. I used to do this and I stopped it because people that I thought knew more than I did kept telling me that what I was doing was wrong, that no one needs to see my life on camera. No one needs that authentic. It was authentic bullshit back then. This is back in the day when people just were taking photos of their plates of food. And this is, oh my God, I'm out at lunch and here I am and how fantastic am I? Whereas I was doing the real authentic stuff back then and it was classified as bullshit. No one wanted to see it. No one wanted to hear it. And I pulled every single part of my business down because of what other people were saying about it.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you reckon someone could, like me, who was raised to believe that the external world is the truth and the internal world is the lie, how do you reckon they could turn it around and go, well, what you believe about yourself is the truth and what everybody else believes about you is the lie?
Well, you just said it right there. What you believe about yourself is the truth because that's the only truth that matters. Everyone has a fear. And is what they do a lot of times is that they inflict that fear on other people. So say, for instance, you had your online TV show and everybody, you had people criticize you. Now, the question is that why are they criticizing you? Why do they have an opinion over what you're doing? And if you were so wrong, then why aren't they doing it the right way? Why aren't they doing it the way that they feel is the right way? You see what I mean? So they would rather criticize you because seeing someone become successful eliminates excuses that they have to face. So instead of a person realizing that they have to face their own internal fears, they would rather drag you down, because if they can drag you down, it gives them an excuse not to do what they're supposed to do in this world.
That is such a good point, actually.
Right?
Yeah.
I know what I'm supposed to do in this world. I'm committed to that. Whether if anybody wants to believe it or not, it's who I am. And I can't change that. And I wouldn't change it for the world. So when people look at me and they talk down and things like that, I look at them and go, and what are you doing to contribute? What are you doing to change the things that you're complaining about? So it's easier for you to complain about what I'm doing instead of you having the courage to go out there and do what you're supposed to do. That's fine. If you're afraid of the world, that's okay. I'm not. I am not. We have this one life in this world. And when we're gone, what do you leave behind? Are you inspiring other people to go out there and do it with your courageousness, with your heart, with your passion? Or are you teaching people that it's okay to be afraid? When you're afraid, you miss a lot of things in this world. You miss it because we're too afraid to go out and touch it. You doing this podcast right now, right? I would say that you're courageous. This is what you do. You talk to people across the world. You get them to open up and share their stories. And people are sometimes afraid of sharing their stories, right? Because no one wants to be judged. Yeah. But they're doing it anyway because of the person sitting next to them. You inspire other people to want to talk to you. And that right there is commendable. Because for one, here's that fear that you have. It goes out the window. Because regardless of how you want to look at it, when this is done and it's recorded and it's put out there, the whole world is going to see it.
Yeah.
So you still go right back to point A, to where I'm afraid of what people are going to say. Guess what? You're putting it out there. That fear is no longer there. Mm-hmm. That fear is no longer there. Change this in here, and this up here will follow. You've already whooped it. You're already doing it. It's out there. When I get done editing our podcasts and everything, that your story is going to be out there. And all those people that follow me, they're going to listen to your story. Yeah. And out of all those people that are out there that are going to listen to your story, those people are going to come back and they're going to reach out. Can I have you on my podcast? I thought that was amazing. I want to know more. That fear that you have is imaginary. So within yourself, you have to come to terms with that. You have an amazing story. You're going to inspire millions of people, all because you was brave enough to come on and share that. Podcasting is intimate. Doing public speaking, working in grief, that's intimate.
Yeah, it is.
It doesn't get any more fearless than that. It really doesn't. And the reason why we do it is because we can relate to the people that we're talking to. Mm. You've already got the fear out the way. Everything else is perception. Look at what you're doing and think about what you said. You've already crossed that threshold. You've already crossed that. You understand what I'm saying? You've already crossed that threshold.
Yeah.
angry and fearless is because I didn't want people to know what had happened to me when I was 6. That's why my family never knew. I didn't start telling people that I was molested till I was already in my 40s.
Yeah.
I just turned 49. Just maybe 2 years ago, I told my sister what had happened to me. I told my cousin what had happened to me. My mom didn't even know. My father didn't even know. The women that I was with never even knew. They never knew why I sabotaged relationships. It wasn't that I was afraid. Well, in a way, yes, I was afraid of them knowing and them criticizing me or calling me, gay or weird and all of these things. But then I looked at it, and when I realized that it didn't just happen to me,
Yeah.
and I said, you know what? People should know that these things do happen to men, that men do operate on a sense of fear and hypocrisy, because we tell other men to man up and things like that when deep down inside we don't want to do it,
Mm.
right? Because we're afraid of being called a punk. We're afraid of being told all of these derogatory things. We're afraid of it. I'm no longer afraid of those things. So for every step and stage in my life, it's a different challenge that I have to look at and go, I can choose to walk away from it, or I can choose to walk towards it. And every time I've chosen to walk towards it, it opened up a new door. It opened up new opportunities. It introduced me to beautiful people that was just like me. And I can take that and I can pour that into other people. And then in turn, they can take what I poured into them and they can pour it into other people. And it's a sense of gratitude that comes, and gratitude and appreciation that comes with that, right? Because when you look back, as we start to get further along in life, we can look back at the people that we've touched and we can smile, right? Because we did make that decision, and we can look at what they're doing, because now no longer are they walking in the shadows, they're stepping out into the light and they're helping other people come out of their shadows and understand that, hey, you're not alone. We're not alone in this world. Everything that we've gone through, other people have gone through. We're just the ones that's out there going, hey, come sit with me, right? Come sit with me and let me walk with you. Let me share something with you. Let me share this intimate part of me, you know what I'm saying, with you, because what you shared with me. And then you realize when we stand back, we have a whole community that we've built of courageous people. And that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. How do you think the Global Grief Network came about, right? You know, it's a whole community of grief workers just like us that's come together. And it's like it's this beautiful thing, right?
Yeah.
When I started Memories of Us, which is my men's group, I struggled, right? And I was challenged. And now I look back and there's thousands of men across the world that come to my support groups virtually, and now they're out there doing stuff in their community by starting other organizations that help the men in their communities as well. That is beautiful. Because now I'm starting to see those men stand up, right? And go, you know what? No more. No more will you put me down for the things that I've held secret.
Yeah.
Because if I share my secret with you, you no longer have control over me. What you gonna do? What you gonna tell me something I've never been told before? That's funny. What you gonna discourage me from doing what I'm supposed to do? That's hilarious. That is hilarious. No. 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 No.
I can kind of see that from the different perspective now as you're sharing it, and imagining people that know me sending me a message and criticizing or putting me down or doing whatever they do, and looking at them going, well, hang on a minute, what are you doing in the world? Like how and there is one thing that I started bringing in, and I say this to other people, and I say it to my daughter actually, just because I don't want her to grow up like me. And I said to her, whenever someone is criticizing you or judging you or saying something mean about you, look at their life and go, do you want their life? Are they in a better place than you? Are they someone that you are aspiring to become? If it is a no to any of those, then don't listen to what they're saying. Unless you want their life, do not listen to what they are saying. And it kind of comes from that same thing of what you're saying, is where you're looking at people and going, well, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
Like, how are you creating change in this world?
So now take what you just said and apply it to you.
I know. I heard it.
It's easy to tell people the things that they want to hear, because those are the things that you need to hear as well.
Yes.
So now the tricky part is, you know what I'm saying? Don't just tell them, show them.
Yeah.
Apply it to yourself. You have a voice, you have a heart, and you have an amazing story. No one can take that away from you. Yes, it's horrible, the things that you've had to go through, but you walked through them, you grew through them, and you choosing to do something else with the things that you've gone through, right?
Yeah.
You cannot live in fear of that. You can't tell somebody else something and then not walk the walk. It's that whole thing, you know. I was taught at a very early age, if you're gonna talk the talk, you might as well walk the walk.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Because people are more inspired when they see you walking it as well.
And it's not an easy journey either, especially when you've gone through grief and you've gone through pain and you've gone through trauma, and you load it all on top of each other. It is not an easy journey to unravel all of that pain and all of that heartache.
Exactly. But if it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
Yep. Everybody would be courageous instead of being a victim.
Exactly. But that's why we're chosen to walk the paths that we walk. We may not understand it. Lord knows we may not understand it. And that's okay, because eventually it all makes sense as we begin to get older. When you chose to get into this field, you chose, let me rephrase it. What was the reason that you chose to get into this field and do the podcasting and to help other people in their journeys?
Honestly, I don't think it's been a choice. It hasn't been a choice. It's been a
choice.
This is your next thing. So do it. It was the podcast was a solution for me, because I'm an extraordinarily resourceful human being, and I couldn't afford coaching, and I knew I needed help. I knew I needed help out of my trauma, and what I was doing was not getting me out. And I knew that I needed different perspectives. And I had a very narrow perspective of the world, and was in a very deep place of fear and very deep victim. And I sat one day and I basically went, well, I can't afford coaching. I know I need to change. I don't know how to change. What do I do? And then I heard, start a podcast and put a post up and ask anybody that has gone through trauma, who has come out the other side and is thriving in life, who wants to have a conversation with me. And I've had so many amazing, beautiful people who reached out and said, yeah, we'll have a conversation with you. And for the first couple of months, I was having maybe 4 or 5 a week. So it was me asking questions. It was real time. So, I mean, my podcast has now been going for 8 months, and it was real time. This is me not over here asking questions from, my perfect space. It was, I'm in this moment right now. I am in hell. This is the pain that I'm feeling right now. How did you end it? How did you stop it? How did you solve it? And that is why I started the podcast. It it wasn't from a perspective of how can I help other people? It was from a very deep perspective of how can I help myself? Because I need to get out of where I am. And now it's kind of evolving to be more, okay, well, now how can I give other people a platform to have a conversation with me? So it has evolved, but the initial start was very much of, I need help and I need to have lots of conversations with lots of different people. And my perspective very quickly went from here to here. And all of a sudden I started to see all of these, it was almost like a permission for me. All these conversations gave me permission to let go of the victim and gave me permission to let go of the hurt and gave me permission to let go of the pain. And because I think there was a part of me that really thought, I can't let this go. I should hold on to it. And I should live in it. Like I can't not live in this pain. And every single person that I've had a conversation with has actually gone through worse trauma than me, which also put it into a lot of deep perspective of, well, hang on a minute. This person has been, I had someone that had been molested from about the age of 3 all through their childhood. And they came out the other side. And it's like, damn.
Exactly.
Like, I've got nothing
that
on that.
That leads me to go back to say, but you made a choice.
Yeah.
You made a choice to do that. And you could have easily chosen to stay in your little bubble and hold on to all of that. And
I could have stayed in hell, yes.
Yeah, you could have easily done that, but you made a choice. When something comes up and says, and this is the most bravest thing that that you could have ever had done. You said, I'm gonna start a podcast.
Yeah.
That right there is brave, right? Because you did make, you could have easily been like, I'm not starting no podcast. I'm not going to do that. But you said, you know what? I want to meet all of these individuals. And this is where it all boils down to, right? I want to meet other people because we want to learn. Because all of these things that we go through, we don't know all the answers. So we want to talk to so many people to get their perception of it and maybe hold on to some of their courageousness.
Yes.
They inspire us, right?
Yeah.
As much as we inspire them, they inspire us as well. Because like you said, we may talk to someone who have gone through a lot worse than what we've gone through and come out the other side. Yeah. Right? And we inspired. We're like, oh, this person can do it. I can do it too. What's the next conversation is going to bring? See, I get excited with the next conversation. What is the next conversation that I have with the next individual? I've read the bio. I'm excited. I want to know. I am curious. I am downright curious. And I want to know, how did they do it? And I get lost in those stories. And they take me on this journey with them. And I come out of there like, oh, man. See, at that moment when I'm with them, just like when I'm with you, I'm not thinking about the outside world. I'm looking at all of this right here. I'm not thinking about the outside world until it's all over. And I'm going, man, I have to edit this. I have to edit this, right? And I have to put it out there and things like that. And it's like, man, once that reality is set in, it's like, how many other people is this going to touch?
And then you kind of think, how many amazing conversations. I guess I've just listened to you because I was starting to waver, honestly. I'll be honest with you. I was starting to waver on my podcast going, well, I don't know who else to have conversations with. I'm on the obviously the intention was for the trauma, but I'm on the other side of my trauma now. So now I'm like, I don't know who else to have conversations with.
Everyone.
But you've just opened this light up going, well, hang on a minute. What if now it isn't about you getting through your trauma? What if now it's just about learning more about the world, learning more about people, learning more about humans, learning more about capacity and expansion and evolution? And all of a sudden I've just seen, it's like, holy shit, there are 7 billion people in this world I could have a conversation with.
Exactly.
And it would all be interesting.
Yes. And that's that part right there, what you just said, that's exciting for me.
Yeah, me too.
Right. Because it's no longer about me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the perception I now have about this life when I do the things that I do, starting nonprofits, podcasting, and things like that. And I tell everybody this: it's not about me. And that is the most gratifying feeling that I've ever had in the world. I am, I only played that much of a part in this whole thing, but I'm going to put my effort in so that part is significant. But everything else, it's not about me. It's not about me. Doing the things that I do, it's about everyone else. The conference that I've done, the two conferences that I've done, the one that's come, it's not about me. It's about my colleagues being able to showcase us and put us out there into the world to become resources in different communities, right? Because those people in those communities are screaming for help and they don't know where to go to. Yeah. So when you can introduce individuals from different walks of life, it gives them a sense of hope and choice. Now they know that we're out there. Who's going to be the good fit for me? You know, now they have options. Now I can look at my colleagues and go, man, I want to introduce you to someone from the Latin community. I want to introduce you to someone from the widows, you know, or the widows, whatever that looks like. I now have options. And I have people who are just as passionate as me that are going, yes, introduce me to them. Let me see if I can help them. It's not about me. None of this is about me. Like this podcast, it's not about me. When you put it out there, it's about the person listening to it. Is it going to give them a sense of hope? Is it going to give them a sense of direction? Is it going to encourage them? Are they going to be able to latch on to the things that I believe in, even if they're struggling right now? Maybe they can latch on to my faith and have something they can develop their own. Maybe that man that's out there, that woman that's out there that's struggling, that's homeless, that's about ready to commit suicide. Maybe my story will go, they will look at my story and go, oh, that dude had a lot worse than me and he's still here. Maybe I can do something as well. Maybe this is not the best choice for me. Maybe that drug addict out there is going to listen to this story and go, you know, when the next time they're popping pills or about ready to put a needle in their arm or something, they're going to look at themselves and go, I deserve so much more. I love me enough to say I deserve a chance in this world. But first, I need to heal. Because that's what it's all about. It's all about taking those steps to healing, right?
And what do you mean by healing? Healing what? Healing the thoughts, healing the heart, healing the past?
Everything. So when we think about healing is a multitude of things that has happened to us, right? And so when we talk about healing, yes, you have to heal the mind, you have to heal the spirit, the heart, your emotions, your mental stability. You have to heal all of those things. The physical aspect of it, right? You have to heal that as well, because it all works together. It all works together inside of you and outside of you. Because when you heal the inside of you, the outside of you portrays it. Right? The way that you talk to people. See, if you're in a victim mentality, everything is, you know what I'm saying, well, this and that has happened to me. And now you're coming up with excuses. When you change that mentality and go, yeah, I walked that path before. And, you know, I made a choice to do this. People listen to that, right? Now, when you talk with passion out of your heart about the things that you love, people hear that. They hear the healing that goes on in that, right? The emotional aspect, when you can find it in yourself to not only forgive those people who have done these things to you, but forgive yourself for the things that you did not know. Your conversation portrays that. So healing is a hard thing because you have to heal these different aspects of who you are, because that's what makes you whole. That's what makes you whole. That's what makes life exciting. That's what makes it fearless. Because when you start to do that, people look at that and go, "Oh, whoa, man, that is amazing," and they're attracted to you because they want to know where you got it from. How did you do it? As much as we ask people how did they do it, right? You know what I'm saying? They asking us, how did you do it? What steps did you take to do it? And it's okay to go, man, I was afraid. I was angry. I wanted to do this. Yes, I walked this path. I did this and I did that, and I was stuck here and this, that, because there's other people out there that are doing it. And they're stuck. They're lonely. They're angry at the world. They've lost faith in humanity. They don't want to be bothered with anyone, right? You know what I'm saying? Most of them have crawled into a hole and decided this is where I'm going to be because people have shown me that I can't trust them. It only takes one person. It only takes one person to change that whole perspective, to change that trust aspect, to give them some courage and love and uplift them. It's not about me. That's the biggest thing that I have to keep in mind. It's not about me. So when I say I had to heal all of these things, I did all of these things for me, yes. But now I realize I did all of these things so I can encourage other people to take those steps to do it for themselves. Because I was that guy, you know, I was that guy, physically abused, right? Molested, alcoholic, gang banger, went to prison, you know what I'm saying? I was that guy. I was a POS. I was a POS, walked through this life alone, had to figure it out, and all of these different homelessness. Yeah, been broke beyond. I was like, as one of my mentors said, I was so broke I would walk past a bank and trigger the alarm. You see, you understand what I'm saying? I've been out on the streets, and I've been out on my own since I was 15 years old, and sometimes I feel like it was longer than that because I lived in a place of seclusion.
Yeah.
I didn't want anybody to know. I didn't want anybody to feel sorry for me. I didn't want anyone to look down on me and say, "Oh man, look at you." I was that guy on the street that was homeless for many times over.
Yeah, that isolation when you're in a victim, like when you're in hell, the isolation is, it just makes it so much harder.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
And then the hardest part is, again, comfortable. I'm already in hell. I might as well stay here. Ain't no sense of me coming out of this place. I'm comfortable now.
It's not only there's no sense I'm coming out, but it's also there's so much in this world that keeps putting me back here.
Yeah. But that's what it's designed to do. See, when we make up our mind and say, this is what I'm going to do, the world has a strange way of saying, are you sure?
Yeah.
Because the time that we spend in hell and being isolated and making excuses not to come out of it, when we decide to do it, life says, are you sure you want to do this? So yes, it's going to set up those roadblocks because it's saying, okay, if you want to do this, you're going to have to jump across this speed bump right here. And as you start to jump across that speed bump, you can stop midway through and go right back the same way that you came. But if you choose to go across that speed bump, you learn something. You've now learned a new skill. So now you got across that one and things may be going good, and some come back and knock you down again. Well, there's something else that you have to learn. So their character building. It's building your character. It's preparing you for what you ask for. It's giving you everything that you need in order to do exactly what you said that you were supposed to do.
I'm so uncomfortable as I'm listening to you at the moment because there's a part of me that, like you, is terrified of losing my daughter. Terrified. And there's a part of me that's terrified that is going to be the next thing. Like, there's no one else left. My mum's gone. My dad's gone. Like, everyone around me is gone. The only thing I have left is my child. Mm-hmm. And it's just been sitting here, like, just festering as I've been talking to you. And I kind of want to dive a little bit into how you came out the other side of that for people who have. I've had, I think, 3 people on my podcast who have lost their child. My best friend lost her son a couple of months ago. Um, how? How did you come back from that moment when you've already gone through everything else? Like you said, you've already gone through jail, you've already been shot, you've already been homeless, you've already been broke. How did you come back from that, which I imagine must have been the worst of all of that?
It was. It was definitely the worst of all of that. And I want to start off by saying, before I get into it, I didn't think I was going to come back from that.
Yeah,
You know, because
I
of the
do know.
relationship I had with my son. You know, it was always just him and I. His
Yeah,
mom was in the picture, but it was always just me and my son. You know, she acted as if that she didn't want to have anything to do with him. So my whole life, everything that I did, becoming the man that I was based around being a good, not only a good man, but being a good father, right? And I made my fair share of mistakes growing with him and things like that. And I had this whole life planned out, I was going to pour into him to teach him better than me, to give him the opportunities that I didn't have by creating those opportunities for myself so I can be a good example to him. But also to be a good mentor to him as well, right? To give him something to be inspired for, which was going to be me. When he passed away, um, it was years. I was in a really bad place, really, really bad place. It was a place that um, I like to call my dark well, right? You know, and what I mean by that, when he passed away, I went into a place of isolation. I didn't want to be bothered with anyone. I didn't have the desire to be part of this world anymore because my perception of life is now changed. Those
yeah,
things that I didn't think that was possible, I now know is possible. And as I begin this journey of walking and growing through that, I started, my faith was gone, right? And, I was so angry with God. I was so angry with him. I was like, I was an obedient servant. Why would you hurt me this way? Worst pain I've ever felt in my life. Worst by far. And even now, by far the worst thing I've ever experienced. I do all the things in my life, that right there, top the cake.
yeah.
Because now I'm alone in the world again. But now I'm alone in the world with this deep pain that I cannot explain. Um, and as I was in this dark place, I wanted somebody to come and save me. I did. I wanted somebody to come and say everything was going to be okay. I wanted them to just lie to me. Everything's going to be okay, Tony. Tell me that. Just tell me that I'm not crazy and I'm not imagining this, right? Reality has changed for me. And one day I could just remember being inside of this dark place, and I just got tired of yelling, I got tired of screaming, I got tired of fighting and punching the walls, and I was so tired. I just sat down and said, just bury me. Just bury me. This is the moment where I started planning out my suicide. So when I say I almost didn't make it, I almost didn't make it, right? I was planning out my suicide for 2.5 months. And during that process, I'm in this dark place. And I'm just saying, if you're not going to help me, just be done with me.
Just
I don't
take me, just get rid of me now.
just get rid of me now, right? What
Yeah,
am I supposed to do from this point on, right? I thought I was supposed to have the rest of my life to be this father and raise this amazing child to put him into the world, and and all of these different things, and that imaginary rope came down because I started meeting different people, other men like myself that was coming to me. It's like, Tony, just so I understand. How do you understand what I'm going through? Well, I lost my kid, and I'm meeting all of these other men. So I'm thinking that rope is there to help pull me back out. But every time I went to go reach for the rope, somebody would pull it up, right? So these people are disappearing, but they're dropping things for me. And that's what, when they dropping things, I imagine that dirt is being pushed over top of my head. And in the beginning, I was just like, oh, come on, bring it on, just finish it, right? But something inside of me said, stand up. And I would stand up and I would stomp on the dirt to get it underneath my foot. And I would stand up and go, is that all you got? Is that all you got? And that rope would come back down, and I would reach for the rope again and pull it back up, and more stuff would get poured on top of my head, and I would shake it off and start standing up again. Next thing you know, with all of those things that was being poured on top of me, when I realized what had happened, now I'm sitting on top of the hole. Mm. I am standing there on top of the hole. So all of these things that people were giving me was my stepping stones out of it. So I had help, whether they believe it, know it or not. Those men, those people that came to me and walked with me, even for those brief moments, they were giving me the things that I needed to get outside of this hole. So I did have help. I didn't do it all on my own. I was just courageous enough to use it and come out the other side with a different perspective.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking, I said, man, there's other people out there, other men like myself, that have gone through things like I've gone through. And it reminded me of the story of Job, right? And I started to relate my life to the story of Job. And I'm going, whoa, why does this sound familiar? Oh, Tony, that's you. So, okay, let me dive a little bit deeper into this and understand it, because now I'm starting to realize that what I've gone through is nothing new. It's nothing new. It's been happening since the beginning of time. And if this individual can go through what he's gone through and still have the faith that he has, I wonder if I can do that. So even though my faith had been wrecked and my belief had been shattered, there was a sense of hope, right? And I began to hold on to that. Even though it wasn't mine, I began to hold on to it, and I began to mold it into something that I can use. And everything in life started to change. And I went, there's something else to this. So I began to pray again. I began to ask questions. I began to argue. I learned how to argue with God. I learned how to stand up and go, you know what? I am not happy to what you did to me in my life. He goes, oh, you think you're special, huh? You're not special. What you've gone through, there's been billions of people that have gone through the same thing that you've gone through. Let me show you something. And I went, well, what about this? Yeah, but look at, you went through this, and look at the person that you was able to help. Yeah, you've gone through this, but look at the individual that you was able to lift up out of their dark place. You've gone through this, but look at these individuals that you was able to touch and inspire.
But don't you ever turn around and say, could you not make my life about everybody else? Like, could you not have given me my son instead of taking him and then making it about everybody else? Because I've had that question go through my head sometimes, especially when I had a traumatic birth. And as my 500 stitches were getting I was getting 500 stitches sewn into me. I laid there and I said, why? Why did I have to go through this traumatic birth? And I heard, how many people can you help with a traumatic birth versus if you'd had a home birth and nothing went wrong, how many people can you help? And I laid there and I went, are you fucking kidding me? Mm-hmm. Could I not have one thing in my life that could be about me instead of it being about how can I help everybody else?
Okay, and I can answer that. So, and I did say that. Why me, right? Why can't I have my kid? Why can't I have my parents? Why can't I have my younger brother? Why can't I have my best friends that are gone now? and things like that. And yes, that similar answer came back. Had you not gone through it, you wouldn't be able to help the other person. What about me?
Yeah, where am I in all of this though?
Right.
Screw
We're not
them.
in this whole thing, right? And the answer came back. It went, because I have something better for you. They may not be here physically, but I can give you a relationship with them that would last you for eternity. So the relationship I now have with those people that are gone, it's more, I'm more connected to them. Because even though they're no longer in this world, they still the voice of reason in my head. They still the voice of inspiration in my head. I still feel them as if they still, as if they're walking with me now. Everything that I do, I have my memories. And I hear sometimes, hey, you remember this? And I can get a smile on my face and go, yeah, I do. And I realize that they're still here with me. So yes, they may be gone in the physical aspect, but the relationship that I have with them now, I have no fear of them leaving me. I have no fear of them leaving me because the flesh is already done. Their flesh is gone. I can't change that. But they're still here with me in my hard times, encouraging me, saying, hey, I'm still here with you. My grandmother, she's still the voice of reason in my head. Baby boy, you got this. I still hear as clear as day. My son, when I'm out and I'm going into a very lonely place, I can hear my son say, Dad, smell that flower over there. Remember? Remember? You're not by yourself anymore. We all have to leave this place at some point. Our flesh will die, but our spirits will live on, and we will become someone else's guardian angel. Isn't that an amazing thing? Even though that the flesh is gone, their spirits are still here. They didn't leave us. They left us physically, but they didn't leave us. They just now can do more with what they have without limitations. We will always miss the people that have gone before us. Always. That's a natural thing because we loved them. We will always love them. But you can have that relationship beyond that if you do so choose to. I think for me, and this is just my belief, right? Maybe it helps someone else, maybe not. It's okay. I believe that we can have a different sort of relationship with those that have gone before us. They can still be a part of everything that we do because it's going to show in our conversations and the work that we do. So, yes, we had to experience these things. We had to go through them in order to help other people. But had we not experienced it, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. Our life would not have the same meaning that it has right now. As traumatic as the things that we've had to go through, it doesn't always have to be bad. Or if we perceive that as bad as we get older, it's meant for us to go through. It's meant for us to heal from it. And it's meant for us to pick ourselves up so we can pick other people up. Because if we don't know how to pick ourselves up, well, how are we going to help the next person? And to me, for me, that is beautiful for me. To be someone else's encouragement, inspiration, their motivation, to give them something that I wish somebody would have gave to me. Yeah, that's how you do it. Those are the steps that you need to take. It's perception, heart, mentality, and your soul, right? The relationship I have now, no one can take that away from me. No one can take that away from me anymore. I can sit down and have a conversation with my son and tell him how much I miss him and listen to the voice that comes in my head that go, Daddy, I miss you too. Or son, I miss you. Mom, I could talk to my mother and go, Mom, I'm confused right now. And I can hear my mama's voice come back and say, baby boy, it's okay to be confused, but you can't stay there. And I go, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, you remember that time when you was a kid and, and this is the conversation that you and I had? Yes, ma'am. Take that and apply to what you're going through right now. I've already taught you everything that you needed to know. My father, same thing. All of those different things, all of those different people that I've encountered, they're still here. This is just the place that we live in right now. It's a temporary home. That's it. This place that we live in, this big, beautiful rock that's floating around in the middle of space right now, it is a temporary home. That's it. When we leave like billions of people before us, we would join them. And they're going to talk about what we've done down here. And we're going to talk about what we've done down here with them as well. Those stories just going to be, they're going to add a lot more value to what we leave behind. So when you say that you live in fear of losing your daughter, I'm not saying that I don't wish that pain on no one. Let me start by saying that I wish that pain on no one. I really don't. But don't live with that. Don't let it rent space up here. Enjoy the time that you have. Be an amazing mother. Inspire her. Because if you live in fear, you teach her to live in fear.
Yeah.
Right? So if you become an inspiration and you become the mentor, you then inspire her to take and use her own experiences in this world to inspire other people. You inspire her to be better than you because you're showing her how to be courageous.
Yeah.
You're showing her how to be fearless and how to love and be amazing and awesome and to go after what you want in this world. Because you can have anything that you want in this world if you're courageous enough to go after it. If you're courageous enough to stand up to the challenges that this life throws you, you can have anything that you want in this world. You can have the relationship. You can have the success. You can write that book. You can do that podcast. You can start that business. You got to be courageous. Teach them by teaching yourself. Hopefully that answers it a little bit. I mean, there's more to it. There's more to it and everything, but I think every individual have their own journey. So, and I just want to say that I'm only speaking from my perspective because it was my journey. It was the things that I had to go through and learn and things like that. But it was the things that worked for me. I couldn't do what worked for anyone else. So I did what worked for me. And it worked. Right? So every individual, just like grief and everything else, is individual. It's individual. But it's worth it. It is definitely worth it. Yeah.
It definitely answered my question. It was actually really emotional because it solved that loneliness.
Yeah.
That deep feeling of being alone. Because my mum's gone. My dad's gone. My grandma's gone. My grandpa's gone. My cat has gone. There's so many people that I miss, and it makes the world feel very lonely. And as I was listening to you, I could feel it. It's like if I had that faith and I had that voice, this world would not feel so lonely. If I could connect to my grandma again and hear her even telling me off, it would feel less
That's
alone.
what, that's what I mean, right there. That right there, what you just did,
Yeah.
that's the voice.
Yeah.
You remembered and you laughed. That's what it is. That right there. You remember him telling you off, right? You remember some of the stories and some of the moments that you've had. You've had these conversations before. And by you remembering them, that's them connecting with you and saying, do you remember this right here? And you can laugh about it. That's them. That's
Yeah.
them letting you know that they're not gone. And that they're saying to you, I'm still here with you. We may not be there in a physical sense, but I'm still here with you. Just remember this conversation that we had. I'm still here with you.
Yeah. Because without them, the world is bloody lonely.
Yes.
You can't fill it with enough distractions to distract yourself from that loneliness.
You're not supposed to.
Mm.
You're not supposed to. See, that I learned that when we distract ourselves in this world, when we try to fill the voids and all of these things, we miss the small subtle things that
Yeah.
make this world worthwhile, right? Because we're constantly trying to not feel. We're constantly not trying to deal with the things that we should be dealing with because I gotta go do this and I gotta do this and I gotta go. Yes, I get it. I get it. But when you actually sit down and feel that cool breeze on your face or feel the raindrops falling on your head and all of those different things, and just enjoy those little moments in life, like watching grass grow. Such an amazing thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you get new chickens, when you get new chicks and things like that, right? It's a beautiful thing because there's a new life that's in this world, right? Those little things, as simple as it may be, let that be your distraction because they're little miracles. Everything that you see today is going to change tomorrow. Everything that you see in this moment is going to change in the next moment. Isn't that worth exploring? Isn't that worth taking in? The trees that you see outside right now that have the green leaves, watch what they look like in the next moment. Tomorrow, they're going to be something totally different because you're going to be different. You're going to see the same things and you're going to look at it and go, oh, wow, there's a red berry on that tree today. That wasn't there yesterday. When you go out to your garden, it's something simple. When you go out to your garden, right, and you plant your watermelons and your squash and your cucumbers and things like that, look at where it started from.
We
Started
actually
from.
just planted them last week.
That's what I
All
mean.
three of those things.
Yeah, and now watch the flowers come up, right? And then you're gonna turn around again, in a month or two, maybe a month or three, and they're gonna have flowers on them. They're gonna start having fruits and vegetables on them and things like everything changes because
Yeah.
that's the way it's meant to be. But you're going to remember having that seed in the ground and going, wow, isn't that something? And those simple things right there should give you everything that you need because it's worth it. It's worth grabbing on to. Because as it's changing and growing, so are you. So is your daughter. So is everything in this world. Look at the state of the world that we live in. Right? But yet we still have people out here going, tomorrow's going to be a different day. and everything can change just like that. Enjoy it. Breathe in that fresh air. Enjoy the water on your face, and enjoy the plants. Enjoy the friends and the family that you have. Enjoy those things, because when they're gone, you know, all you're going to have is those memories. And I tell people this all the time. One day we're going to be gone and we're going to be somebody else's thought. I want, when you think of me, I want you to have a smile on your face.
Yeah.
I want the thought that you have of me to be fun and funny and inspirational and not sad. It's okay to be sad for a little bit, but know that I'm not going. I'm not gone. I've just transitioned. That's all I did. I went from a flesh to a spirit. And I'm going to come back and let you know that, hey, I'm still here. When you eat those vegetables and things like that, they let you know you did this. You gave me this love. So I'm going to give this back to you. Everything that we do is connected to everything else. And that's beautiful. That is beautiful. Just my perspective.
That's a very good perspective. And I appreciate you sharing it.
Of course.
This has been a really big call. I can't even see what the time is to know how long it's been going for.
You know, this is what happens when we have good conversations, right? That's
Yep.
what that's why we do what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. These conversations are amazing. I've enjoyed, like, you and I have had 2 conversations now, and I've enjoyed both of them so much. And one of them was me sharing all of my wisdom with you, and you sharing your wisdom with me. And it's just, they've both been such great conversations.
I appreciate the opportunity to come on and speak with you again and to share, right? Because I know that someone's out there is going to listen to this and they're going to go, they're either going to think that I'm crazy, right? And I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm okay with that. Or they're going to look at it and go, whoa, I like that.
Yeah.
That's good stuff right there.
Yeah.
You know, and it may even encourage someone out there to go get help. It may encourage someone out there that's down in their luck to go, you know what, if this dude can get up after all the crap that he's been through, I can do it too, because I didn't go through nearly as much as he did.
Yeah.
Right? Or it may encourage somebody to go, you know what? I'm going to go on a podcast and tell my story because I want somebody to know what I've gone through, because they may have the same perception. If I could talk to enough people, maybe I can learn some things to help me heal as well. So there's so many different things that can go along with that. So many different things. And they all good possibilities.
Yeah.
I don't mind the criticism. I don't mind their judgment or anything like that. Because like I said in the beginning, what are you doing? How you gonna judge me when you're not doing anything? At least I'm doing something. You know, at least I'm doing something. What are you doing?
They're judging you from the cheap seats.
There you go. That's what I mean. They got them dollar seats sitting up in the stands.
Yeah.
And they only listen to part of the conversation like this. No, get in the expensive seat and come down here in the front row and you know what I'm saying, and get some of this and listen to everything that's being said and see where you go from there.
Yeah. Judge me from the stage, not from the cheap seats.
There you go. There you go. Well, let them judge me from the cheap seats, and let them make their way down to the expensive seats. And then, if they really want to know, let them come up on stage, because now we're on the same playing field, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Now you get to answer my questions while you're judging me. How's it that you feel that you can judge me? What are you doing? So now you have to face your own demons. Who are you to judge me? Who am I to judge you? We're on the same stage now. Let's see where it goes. That's a beautiful thing.
That is a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful. I really do think you and I could keep talking. I think that is a really good spot to end
it. We'll have many more conversations, I promise you. We have a lot more coming up, you know.
Yeah.
We got the panel discussions that I'm going to be starting back up. So have that going, more podcasts. We got the conference coming up. We got all these other things coming up. So yeah, we got plenty more. Like I said, you're part of a community now. You're not by yourself. As much as you want to say that you're not by yourself.
As much as I want to stay in my isolation bubble, it's just been popped.
Yes. No, you're part of a family of people just like us, you know, people just like us that have walked this path, that have struggled through it. Some of us have fumbled through it. But here we are, standing strong. Our hearts are filled. And we have questions. We have intuitions. We have encouragement for others, inspiration for others, and inspiration for ourselves as well. You're part of a community. Take that in. Take that in. You're around a community of grief workers just like us we're here. And we're not going anywhere. And we're just going to continually growing. And this family that we have is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Next thing you know, you're going to turn around and the world is going to know that we're here. Yeah. With all our faults and everything else. And they're going to judge us with their judging eyes.
Is there a website for the Global Grief Network, or how can people find more about it?
They can find the Global Grief Network. We're revamping the website right now to get it prepared for the conference and everything else. So it's going to be back up in the next couple of weeks. But people can also go to my other website, which is www.memoriesofus.org, or they can find me on Facebook. Same thing, Memories of Us, Men's Grief Support. They can find me on LinkedIn, Tony Lynch. And if they want to join the Global Grief Network, we're on Facebook and we're on LinkedIn as well, both private groups. If they're on Instagram, they can look up Men's Grief Support. If they want to see the podcast and be a part of the live panel discussions, they can find us on YouTube at Grief Let's Talk About It podcast. And made it real simple for people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a big call. It just pressed so many different parts inside of me and made me very uncomfortable. I know it's at the end of a really good call if I feel extraordinarily uncomfortable, because it means that there's something that I've learned that I need to expand inside myself. Exactly. And I need to grow and evolve past my limitation. And that's kind of what you did. It's like you went, hey, look, there's a limitation and there's a limitation and look, there's another
limitation. Well, I'm just exposing the things that you thought was limitations.
Yeah.
And if I can give encouragement and tell you that you are limitless. Your limitations are just things that you set.
Yes.
And there's so much more past that.
No, I appreciate you for pressing the buttons, because now I can feel them. Now I can deal with them. I couldn't see them before.
But that's okay though, because that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're supposed to do. Like I said, this the place that we're in is where friends become family. And when you become family, family is supposed to look at you and go, no, you don't get to stay there. You got so much more about you. You don't get to stay there. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to let you stay there. So yeah, come on, let's get uncomfortable. I'm not to piss all of this stuff apart, because I want to see the person that you are underneath that, without these limitations. And I want to see what you become. I want to see you reach your full potential. And see, that's what people are supposed to do. We're supposed to lift each other up. We're supposed to encourage each other to reach the fullest potential that whom we are, so we can do exactly what we're called to do.
Yeah.
So yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, wow. So that call just happened. I had a little conversation with Tony afterwards and shared that it's kind of this call. It's almost as if he just kind of started poking different limitations, like very deep limitations, like the loneliness. It was really emotional. I was really trying to hold back the emotion, otherwise I was going to just burst into tears. And this conversation really pressed on my limitations and went, there's a limitation here, you need to look at that. There's a limitation here, you need to look at that. Have a look at this one over here, there's another limitation. Especially around my perspective of, once people have passed, that's it, they're gone. There's no connection, there's no memory, there's no point in going down that path, because that person's gone. I cannot hold them, I cannot hug them, I cannot have a conversation with them in this human perspective that we live. And yeah, I haven't ever really had the faith that he has around non-physical and God and heaven and all, wherever people go. I haven't ever really had that connection and that belief, but I can see how not having a belief like that can actually imply the loneliness. So I'm kind of going to play with that. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting. Please, if you're watching this episode and you got something out of this, share it in the comments. This was such a gift for me, especially around loss and grief, which I knew it would be. I knew that Tony really has come out of a lot of grief and a lot of loss and a lot of pain and a lot of hurt to walk away with an amazing perspective. And I knew it was going to push against my limitations. So if it did that for you as well, please comment below, share your experience. I know he would love to read it, and I would as well. I'm going to put his links in the description. You can go and check him out, check out all of his different websites, especially the Global Grief Network, the conference that they're having coming up next year. Definitely worth going to if you can. If not, he also runs them online, and you can find out all about that on the websites, and the links will be in the description below. If you want to connect with me, you can go to lovecreatesfreedom.com, and please like and share and subscribe to this channel. We all know the YouTube algorithms absolutely love liking, sharing, and subscribing. So please help me get this journey, this experience, and this podcast out to more people, because that's what we're here for. We are here to change the world. We are here to change these limitations and evolve these expectations and these judgments that we have on ourselves. And the best way to do that is in conversation. So please help me by liking, sharing, and subscribing. And remember, you are greatly and truly appreciated. Mwah.